Everyone today is trying to get more energy, and a lot of people think of drinks. Morning coffee and ginger shots are all over the web, and even ancient warriors wanted a source of power. With no Walmart or Starbucks around them, the obvious answer was blood. And they didn't usually mind where it came from. Surely they had some reason behind it, because all our history books show that ancient warriors were some scary, borderline superpowered people. Let's figure out what mankind has learned about drinks that fill you with energy and power. Strap in for your jitters with today's dose of bean scent knowledge. Imagine yourself on the Eurasian steppes, wind slicing across endless grasslands, and you're about to ride into battle. You know you've trained for this, but you need something to give you a boost and ensure victory. Your less scientific brain makes some logical leaps and decides that blood literally keeps someone alive, so surely it must be full of life and strength. Thus enter the Scythians, nomadic horseback archers who roamed the vast grasslands from the Black Sea to Eastern Europe around 9th century BCE, and earned a reputation for being both terrifying and oddly stylish. It was claimed that they drank the blood of their first enemy slain in battle. It was as if by swallowing the enemy's blood, they were absorbing the remaining strength into themselves. For guys that ride horses all day and shoot bows that take 120 pounds of force to even pull, it was like free lunch at work. There's also the raw intimidation factor in this. Imagine facing an opponent who not only killed your ally, but is now using them for a drink. The sheer shock value gave their warriors an edge. It wasn't just about fueling themselves up, it drained the morale of their enemies. The Mongols, another nomadic warfaring people from East Asia, also practiced a different kind of blood drinking. They worshipped horses as the source of their way of life, and so they also looked to the enchanting equestrians to keep them alive on long journeys. If travel time went beyond the estimated supplies they brought, a Mongol would make a tiny cut on their horse's neck artery and drink the spurting blood that came forth. If they were lucky enough to have a mare, they drank the milk instead, but blood was more than acceptable. It's pretty crazy that the horses just trusted their masters enough to be chill with getting opened like a sauce packet. But warmongers aren't the only cultures that dabbled in these hemoglobin-based beverages. The Maasai of East Africa, for instance, have a long tradition of mixing cow's blood with cow's milk. Unlike the Scythians or Mongols, this wasn't about improving warfare but instead for providing healing. Maasai culture values cattle as a sign of status and good growth, and so all parts of cattle are the source of their life. This means the meat, milk, and yes, the blood. This tradition is still practiced today, often ceremonially, but with some nutritional basis too. After all, blood does contain nutrients. Protein, iron, and B vitamins mainly. More iron means your red blood cells can carry more oxygen, and oxygen is basically the currency of endurance. In rough conditions, when food is scarce, drinking blood can mean staying alive to move forward a little longer. The Inuit people in Alaska and northern Canada historically consumed and still consume a lot of seal blood because they believe it replaces depleted nutrients and that it keeps their bodies warm and full of energy by directly taking in the warmth and energy of a freshly killed animal. Now, while blood consumption sounds brutal, it's worth remembering that these practices arose where other energy sources were scarce. There weren't any coffee beans on the steppes, and sugar cane didn't grow in East Africa. When you live in harsh conditions, you innovate with what's available, and sometimes you get harsh solutions. By the time this practice was tapering off in much of the world, another liquid stimulant was taking over, and unlike horse blood, a lot more people thought it tasted good. Tea drinking began in China, with legends tracing it back to 3000 BCE, but it only spread widely as a cultural and medicinal staple during the Tang dynasty, around 7th to 10th centuries CE. The appeal was mystical, but the benefits are real. Tea leaves contain caffeine, theobromine, and the amino acid L-theanine. Caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant, and theobromine provides a gentler, longer-lasting energy feeling. Meanwhile, L-theanine promotes calm focus. Together, this trio creates a uniquely balanced energy profile, one that sharpens alertness without jittery spikes from pure caffeine. Zen practitioners in Japan made tea an essential tool for meditation marathons, because it allowed them to stay awake and focused for hours while still maintaining inner calm. Imagine it as the medieval version of study fuel, but instead of an all-nighter for finals, it was for enlightenment. Whilst tea was steeping its way across Asia, a different champion was rising in the Middle East: coffee. It's said that the drink was made first in Ethiopia, with legend of a goat herder named Kaldi who noticed his goats dancing wildly after eating red berries. He boiled these berries and after trying the drink, started dancing alongside his goats. By the 15th century, Sufi mystics in Yemen had weaponized coffee into a religious tool. They brewed it into a thick black liquid they called kawa and drank it during long nights of ritual chanting and prayer. Brewed coffee delivers far more caffeine per cup than tea, often twice as much. That intensity made it the drink of choice for merchants, traders, and eventually intellectuals across the Ottoman Empire and Europe. The 17th century saw the birth of European coffee houses, nicknamed penny universities, because for the price of a cup you could spend hours debating science, politics, and philosophy. In a sense, coffee didn't just keep people awake, it helped fuel the Enlightenment period. The world-famous philosopher Voltaire reportedly drank up to 50 cups of coffee a day. And then there's cacao, the energy drink of the Americas. The Mayans and Aztecs prepared a frothy, bitter brew of roasted cacao beans mixed with chili, corn, and water. Called chocolatl, it was dense in theobromine and caffeine, which we mentioned earlier. Aztec Emperor Montezuma II supposedly downed 50 cups a day, similar to Voltaire but with more of his ass burning during toilet time. To the Aztecs, cacao wasn't just refreshment, it was divine energy, associated with fertility and wealth. Spanish conquistadors carried it back to Europe, where sugar eventually softened its bite, and from there it became hot chocolate. What ties these drinks together is nutritionally they reveal humanity's genius for finding plants that deliver concentrated effects. Each culture figured the way forward for the same question. Whether the Asian monks or Arabian mystics or a student with finals tomorrow, the search is the same. How do you put energy in a cup? Today we have billion-dollar marketing teams promising you inhuman focus, feeling like you have wings, just pure adrenaline in a can. But most of what's inside those neon-colored human gasoline cans isn't exotic. It's a remix of what we've been having for centuries. The backbone of every modern energy drink is just caffeine. A single 16-ounce can of Monster packs 160 milligrams. That's roughly 2 cups of coffee or 4 cups of tea. Some extra strength variants go past 300 milligrams, pushing their impact closer to pharmaceutical stimulants. That caffeine stimulates your nervous system, it increases dopamine release, and it blocks your adenosine. The result is you have more wakefulness, you have more focus, and very likely more heart palpitations and jitters. But caffeine is rarely sold alone. The most common sidekick in energy drinks is taurine, an amino acid first isolated from bull bile in the 19th century. That's why there's bull branding in Red Bull. Now, taurine isn't actually an energy booster, it more modulates, it stabilizes cell membranes, regulates calcium signals in muscles, so it's used to prevent a system crash from the ungodly amount of caffeine you just took in. Then the sugar. Many classic energy drinks are like liquid candy bars. They have 25 to 50 grams of sugar per can. That's not for taste, it uses a rapid glucose spike to deliver quick access energy straight to your bloodstream. And for athletes, that can translate to usable energy boosts, but for desk workers, it usually just means a crash an hour later. On top of that, you'll have B vitamins, usually B6 and B12. Now, they don't create energy, but they do help your enzymes metabolize those things more efficiently. Then there's sometimes a sprinkle of ginseng, or guarana, or yerba mate. These ingredients add trace compounds, but are mostly marketing flair, because Amazonian plant extract sounds a lot more exciting than saying it has even more caffeine. When you line up the history, modern energy drinks look a lot less like discovery and more like a final answer. Caffeine, sugar, and herbal extracts are all separate inventions from all over the world, and they just got put together for us to have what we do now. Even the branding of things like Red Bull's Insane Wings or Monster's Primal Aggression are echoes of the same old promise of strength and power, unlike what normal people have. But ancient energy drinks were taken slow and mindfully. The idea was to feel the strength creep in. Today's energy drinks, in contrast, are often taken as excitingly as they make you feel. Slam it before your shift, shotgun it at a rave, or double stack cans for an overnight gaming marathon. We've taken the ancient quest for stamina and made it portable, fast, and potentially dangerous. Whether ancient or modern though, energy drinks don't just work because of chemistry, they work because of ritual. A medieval monk sipping tea before chanting prayers, a samurai drinking matcha in a ceremony, or you cracking open a neon green can before a night shift, they're all tapping into the same psychological power. Think about it, nobody pops open a Monster mindlessly. You crack it, you hear that hiss, and your brain already thinks game time. That ritual becomes a trigger, a Pavlovian cue as powerful as the chemicals inside. In fact, studies show that even decaffeinated coffee can boost alertness if the drinker believes it contains caffeine. And energy drink brands know this. Red Bull doesn't just sell caffeine, it sells wings. Monster doesn't just sell sugar water, it sells aggression. They have identities that people decide sounds like it fits them. People feel more powerful when they feel like they're being seen how they want to be. Energy drinks also carve out their own social niches, just like the coffee houses we mentioned earlier. Coffee houses in the 17th century were hubs of enlightenment debate and political plotting. Today, energy drinks are for gamers on a streak, gym bros pushing for a PR, or students cramming for finals. The drink is a badge of shared struggle. Many people report that their first sip of an energy drink perks them up instantly, well before the caffeine can enter their bloodstream. That's their brains anticipating the kick, conditioned by repetition. So when you think about choosing your energy drink, think about how you want to see yourself. The ritual is half the reason we keep coming back and feeling so good. The challenge then isn't to find the perfect potion with the exact blend of chemicals to get the most energy possible. It's to just notice what makes us feel the best about ourselves, and to represent that as honestly as we can. When that happens, we'll have more energy and motivation than we could ever imagine. Because the real energy drink isn't blood or caffeine, it's belief, and belief has carried hundreds of civilizations on its back all the way to being immortalized in history. So it sure as hell can do the same for you. Let us know down below what your favorite drink for energy is, and we'll take a guess for why you chose that. It'll be like a game we can all play. For now, thanks for reaching the end of the video, and stay tuned for more. We'll catch you for your next cup of coffee or whatever else you're having.